Tennessee Titans.
This is such a weird team.
The new
Look,
look, man.
yeah,
New freaking look.
this is the new look Titans. They hired Brian Callahan, coming from the Cincinnati Bengals. OC is Nick Foles. DC is Denard Wilson. Record last year 6-11. The Vrabel era is officially over. And it's a
not for
totally,
on the field coaching. He still is one of the best coaches for my money.
and he didn't deserve to get fired. I felt like this was the upper management decision. They wanted somebody else. They wanted to go in a new direction. I don't know, man. I feel like it's gonna go one way or the other. They're gonna fall straight on their face, or they're gonna be one of those teams where we look back.
Wow, can't believe we didn't think they'd be good. 100%.
Exactly. And some of the key additions make you feel like that. J.C. Latham, who a lot of people like coming out of the draft, Alabama, physical specimen. L'Jarius Sneed, all-pro cornerback from the Kansas City Chiefs. They wound up snagging him. Calvin Ridley, wide receiver, who's pretty good himself. Tony Pollard, running back, replacing Derrick Henry, who's in Baltimore now. Yeah, so like I said, a lot of new faces. They lost Aziz Al-Shahir, the linebacker, pretty decent linebacker. And like I said, Derrick Henry, Smoke Henry, bro. No more Tennessee for him, bro. So whole new look for the Titans. I don't know what to expect. I know that they're going to lean towards offense being their identity with Brian Callahan. What do you think?
I think the hire of Brian Callahan signified one thing: we believe in Will Levis, and we're hell bent on finding out if he's the guy. I liked what I saw from him last year. I was blown away by how much, again, I didn't think any of the quarterbacks last year were bad. Not except I mean Bryce Young being the exception to the rule, but maybe we'll put a little mulligan on that one.
Yeah.
But I was pleasantly surprised by what I saw with Will Levis. Look, do I think it's maybe enough for them to do something this year? I don't think so. I think they have two good offensive linemen, and one's a rookie, J.C. Latham and Skoronski. I don't really like Lloyd Cushenberry. Don't like Nicholas Petit-Frere. Not a big fan. Hey, they have D-Hop. They have Tyler Boyd.
Who's hurt already.
Treylon Burks is a bust. I love them coming out. But I just don't really see the identity of this team where they run the ball, play defense type of team. Not really. Their defense can be good. I will say that. That's the one thing I'm like, fuck. Could they win 7 games just because? No, I feel like they're not going to be easy to run the ball against for sure.
Yeah.
And they have decent cornerback play. I think L'Jarius Sneed is a really good corner. Chidobe Awuzie, not bad. Hey, Caleb Farley, maybe that is not happening. But Roger McCreary's not bad. You've always liked him from Auburn.
Yeah.
And then pass rusher, Jeffrey Simmons is a stud. Harold Landry could have a bounce back year. Tavondre Sweat could be a run-stopping force as a rookie. It's very interesting to me, like, what they could be. I just think they're going to have – it's going to be good or it's going to be really shitty. I don't think they're going to be a team that finishes 6-11. They're going to finish like 3-15, 3-14, or they're going to finish like 8-9, 9-8. That's what I think. That's what scares me.
Yeah, I don't like it, Max. I'm going to go under. I don't even know what the over-under is.
I'm going under too.
Yeah, I'm going under. Look, I don't trust it. I don't trust Brian Callahan.
They went 6-11 with Vrabel, who's a hell of a coach. I can't imagine they're going 6-11 with Callahan.
Yeah.
I just don't see it.
Look, as far as the approach goes on this idea where kind of like Daniel Jones had with the Giants, but they didn't do it right. So these are two examples. Two examples on what you can do and what not to do. It's like you draft this guy, Daniel Jones or Will Levis, right? You play him. He looks decent. He looks like he can be a guy in the NFL, like a starting quarterback. And then you come out the next year and you're like, oh, let's run it back. Or let's just get a new coach. Let's not really surround this guy like they did with Daniel Jones and wait until the last possible minute to get talent to really find out if you like him. And by the time that you find out that you like him, it's probably one, not enough because you only seen it for 1 year and you only had the talent for 1 year. And you got to pay him. You got to pay him all that money. Get it done now. Get it done while he's under this rookie contract.
I disagree with the first part. They put some talent. You know, Tony Pollard's good.
No, that's what that's what I'm saying. These are two ends of the spectrum.
But here's my thing. Oh, I understand. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Here's my thing though. You don't take one of the best coaches in the NFL and get rid of him.
Yeah.
And then hire a nobody.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's where they fucked up.
That's where I just can't get over that, bro.
Yeah.
I think it's just gonna stink. Like, this is, to me, if I was going to bet on a team to fire their first-year coach, this is a fucking team to do it. This is it. And it's not that I think Brian Callahan is not cut out. I just don't think you do that to a guy like Vrabel, somebody who puts your team on a fucking path, 1 seed, AFC championship game. You don't fire that coach. You don't do it. Especially when you came off a year where you were like, damn, we really could have won like 9 games if we had just been a little more healthy. That's it. I don't get it.
I mean, honestly, bro, I'm not in love with the guys that they got. Like, look, L'Jarius Sneed, to me, he's a baller. He was a baller with the Chiefs, man. But he just smells to me like one of those players.
J.C. Jackson, written all over.
You know what I mean? Sean Smith, like some of these corners that just wind up switching teams, getting that big payday, they're not the same. Whether it's the system or, you know, they're not playing with fucking Chris Jones anymore.
I love how we both have corners that have just scarred us for life. You have Sean Smith. I have Nnamdi.
Nnamdi's that's a pretty big scar. Mine's a little bitty scar.
Yeah.
You know? But I guess, you know, D'Angelo Hall, to name another one for the Raiders.
Oh, didn't you guys cut him 1 year into the deal?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you know, a lot of teams have had these cornerbacks where I can see it, like he's a fucking bust. And then the guys that they signed on offense, one, Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley gets so much recognition because he's a great route runner, but it just seems like
I'm sorry.
He can't do it. Like last year, he was nowhere to be found at games.
I've seen people say like, "Damn, he's killing it at 78 for 1,000." Yeah. That's not killing it,
right?
I mean, yeah, sure, it's killing it if you're a scrub, but that's not like, wow, like we got to worry about Calvin Ridley this week, brother. If you're an average NFL receiver, I'm telling you, I believe this with my heart. You can have 1,000-yard year, an average NFL receiver. What if Romeo Doubs had 1,000 yards? Would you be like, holy shit? You're like, no, it happens once in a while. Right. You just get hot, big game, whatever. Yeah. I'm trying to think like, who's a good receiver who gets 1,000 yards? Who's a guy you could think of? Like, okay, Brandon Cooks. If he got 1,000 yards this year, would you be like, holy shit?
Like, I mean, he averages that shit, seems like.
Yeah. It's not that impressive. Yeah. They're just good. It's not a difference maker. That's my point.
Yeah, you're not saying it's trash. You're not saying it's easy to do it.
No, it's not. But it's not like, wow.
The way that they talk about him. Though, like,
yeah.
You always hear players, they love Calvin Ridley. Because Calvin Ridley's he's very technical. He's one of the best route runners in the league. If you would take a poll.
He disappears too much.
It's just not a guy you want to depend on. Second victim, DeAndre Hopkins. Love him. Probably a future Hall of Famer, borderline. You know, you can have that argument. But let's just be honest. He's old. He's already hurt. I don't want to depend on those two guys. I don't. And then Tony Pollard, I mean, yeah, he was cool. Like
he's a fun change of pace.
Yeah, like I don't like the guys that they're gonna have to depend on. And it's gonna be one of those situations where I can see Will Levis carrying a little bit too much of the load because maybe this guy, Calvin Ridley, didn't show up. DeAndre Hopkins is out, and they can't get the run game going with Tony Pollard. Like, I'm scared of that. But at least
I think their O-line could derail the whole season.
Yeah. And then there's a lot of guys from that Vrabel team that are still on the squad, and maybe they're just stuck with a contract, and you think they're gonna play with with as much heart as they did for Vrabel? I don't think so. I think it's going to be a big culture shock for a lot of guys, like Jeffrey Simmons. Jeffrey Simmons has been there the whole time with Vrabel. You don't think he's going to tell the difference with training camps?
You could tell by the reaction of players when Vrabel was canned. Yeah. You can just tell. We're going under. I don't really know what else to say about this team. This is a team, to me, it's kind of like, you'll know after 3 weeks. You'll know after 4 what this team is. Yeah. You're not going to be like, oh, they might be something. No, we'll know real quick. Right. We'll know they're either be more competent than we thought, or they'll be just as bad as we think they'll be.
Exactly.
Big dreams, everything ain't what it seems. Glittering gold, both clean. Not on my team. This organic, we don't